A rare unanimous Supreme Court W right here. Supreme Court revives straight women's discrimination claim. The case concerns a claim brought by Marlene Ames, who said she was treated unfairly at work because she was straight. Now we finally have the Supreme Court deciding that there is no such thing as reverse discrimination. It's all discrimination. It's the same thing with racism. Like, I hate the term reverse racism so fucking much. There's no such thing. It's all just racism. She's still getting female privilege. No, the important thing is this sets a precedent. So when a straight man gets fired for being straight, he now can use this case for precedent. The Supreme Court Thursday revived a woman's claim she was discriminated against at work because she is straight. The unanimous ruling could make it easier in some parts of the country for people belonging to majority groups to bring such reverse discrimination claims. Nope, no such thing. It's all discrimination. It overturns precedent in some lower courts that says someone from a majority group has to meet a higher bar than someone from a minority group for a case to move forward. Now, that in and of itself is discriminatory. Is there any way we can sue the government about that? Marlene Ames sued the Ohio Department of Youth Services under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, which prohibits sex discrimination in the workplace. After a lesbian woman obtained a promotion she had applied for, she was later demoted and her old position was taken by a gay man. Yeah, totally nothing suspicious going on here. I'm sure it was all meritocracy and not DEI. The writing for the court, liberal Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson said that the test had no basis in the text of Title VII or the cases that have been that have interpreted it. We conclude that Title VII does not impose such a heightened standard on majority group plaintiffs. I think even the leftists are starting to realize that everyone's turning against them, so that they got to rein in their extremism. That's why this vote wasn't split on party lines. The ruling means Ames's case will return to lower courts and edges closer to trial and settlement. At the very least, it's going back to trial, which is nice. We're of course pleased that this is the end of quite a long journey for Miss Ames, said Zhao Wang, one of her lawyers. This was a major legal hurdle in front of her. Is something she's incredibly pleased about. Yeah, but what sucks though is now you just got to go through the courts again. So all of these appeals all the way to the Supreme Court were just so you can actually go to court in the first place. All right, now that we won this, now the real fight is ahead of us. Whew, man, I hope either this woman's rich or these lawyers are doing it pro bono, because, man, the legal fees must be insane. Dominic Binkley, a spokesman for Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost, who represents the state employer in the case, said in a statement that the case is by no means over and the state did not engage in unlawful discrimination. Yep, the state has investigated itself and found it didn't do nothing. So you guys just got to accept that. He added that Ohio has always argued that litigants should not be treated differently based on whether they're from a majority group. Well, you talk the talk, but is there any evidence of you ever walking that walk? At a time when DEI policies are under attack from anyone with a functioning brain, the ruling could make it easier for white people who say they face discrimination to bring claims, as it should be. Like, look, I've been saying this for how long now, that all of these racist and sexist policies have always been illegal. The problem is that men and white people have been too scared to challenge it for so long. But now that the immediate reaction is fine, we'll sue you. Now things will change. Conservative Justice Clarence Thomas wrote a separate concurring opinion in which he referred to the amicus brief filed by Orange Man Allied Group America First Legal, which brought the case against various companies, including Star Schmucks and IBM, alleging race and sex discrimination. Thomas wrote that a number of the nation's largest and most prestigious companies have overtly discriminated against those they deem members of so-called majority groups. Ames has worked at the department since current year minus 21. She's worked there long enough to drink. But the dispute arose after she began reporting to a lesbian women's in current year -8. She was denied the promotion she saw 2 years later and demoted soon after that. She was she was at work on Thursday when the Supreme Court ruled. Now, to be fair, this might not have anything to do with her being straight. There's a lot of stories like that, unfortunately. Like, You're doing fine at work, and then you get a new boss who's a complete piece of shit, and then everything just falls apart. So there's a small chance this had nothing to do with her being straight, but I guess the courts would have looked at that information and determined that it wasn't good enough. The state says Ames was demoted because new leadership in AC wanted to restructure its operations to focus on sexual violence in the juvenile correction system. Ames had led a program aimed at combating struggle in prison, but was seen as difficult to work with, according to the state's court papers. Well, of course, if you have a boss that has it out for you, they're going to put it in your records that you're difficult to work with. I'm sure a few of you listening have been through that. Officials involved in making these decisions are straight, the state pointed out. Yeah, because we never see cases of straight white men virtue signaling until their own jobs are on the line. Lower courts, including the Cincinnati-based Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals, ruled for the state agency. Ames then turned to the Supreme Court. Yep, and now they have to fight this. Now, my theory is they're probably gonna settle because it would be cheaper, but no, maybe they won't. Maybe they won't. We'll see. I am glad that this is ramping up though, because for so long, these corpos and governments always sided with the left because the right has no balls. If the right was discriminated against, they just, oh, well, I guess I just have to man up and deal with it. Nothing I can do. Oh, well, that's just part of being a man, is dealing with setbacks and adversity. And then as soon as they did something against the left, though, the left immediately sued. Them being as litigious as they are is part of the reason why they were able to get so much power, because they are extremely litigious, but their enemies aren't. So obviously everyone bent the knee to those who were litigious because they knew the other side had no balls and weren't going to do anything anyway. But now the other side finally pulled their balls out of their wife's purses and temporarily put them back in their scrotums and are fighting back the same way. And now the companies are actually going to have to think about this. Now they're going to have to realize they're going to be sued no matter what choice they make. So they need to pick the side that's actually going to win in the court of law.